Thank you, Dan. And we have a championship game between two sides who started the campaign with high hopes but are currently heading in the wrong direction. Swansea currently in the relegation zone, and of course Hull City on the slide as well, following 3 successive defeats. And Hull and Swansea, both sides who have sold a number of talented youngsters who have gone on to thrive in the Premier League in recent years. And in the case of Swansea City, David Connolly, eventually that does catch up with you, because you can have a brilliant academy, but if you keep selling off, if you keep making money on your youngsters and not reinvesting into the team and the club, your performances will only head one way, unless you are very, very lucky or have a genius as manager.
Yeah, that's right. And I think, look, in the past they have been guilty of overspending. You look at the money that they were lavishing on some players, you know, the likes of Ayew, Spring-Samine, huge money, but different times here for Russell Martin. But like, he would have known that when he got the job. You know, he fit the profile of the coach and manager that they wanted to play the Swansea way, and it's just a case now of just trying to get through this period, you know, and pick up a few more points.
And as for Hull City, they go through spells, it seems, at their club of having a squad which you would expect in the lower reaches of a championship, and then all of a sudden they've got a number of international players plucked from all over Europe. 13 different nationalities signed during the summer. They've got a Georgian coach, a Turkish owner, but at the same time the results aren't really changing.
No, but I think they're certainly one of those sides at the minute, just finding their rhythm, finding their form. They have capitulated an awful lot once they concede, like QPR, if you were 3-0 up at half-time, West Brom 4-0 up, they showed a bit of character second half, but, you know, conceded too many goals, not getting enough shots at goal. But I think their first choice starting 11, if everyone's fit and up to speed, it looks really, really strong. They've shown today, beat Norwich, draw with Burnley, you know, so they can go toe-to-toe with the best. I mean, we also saw that last season where they, you know, got a draw against Forest right at the last game of the season. So, you know, there is talent in this whole team.
Autumnal sunshine here in southwest Wales. Decent crowd inside the Swansea.com stadium, although you will understand there are a number of empty black and white seats because results have been poor, not just this season here, but also during the latter stages of the previous campaign. And a small knot of Hull City supporters away to our left. It is 287 miles from Hull to Swansea, so unless you fancy a weekend away, it is a very long trip to make in the day for a lunchtime kick-off, and you have to admire the fans decked out in amber and black away to our left who have made the trip for this game. Keith Stroud is our referee. A reminder of the two teams again: Swansea, Bender in goal, Wood, Norton and Cabango the back three, Sorinola, Allen, Grimes and Manning, Cooper, Pirro and Fulton in attack. The whole team: Baxter in goal, Coyle, Figueiredo, Greaves and Elder the back four, Seri, Tufan and Slater across midfield, Pelkas, Estepinian and Vale in attack. And it will be very interesting to see how the Chelsea teenager Harvey Vale adapts to life in the Championship on his senior debut. It is Hull City who will get the game underway wearing all black, attacking the goal away to our right as we look out from the main stand here at the Swansea.com stadium. Swansea wearing all white. And another big Saturday is underway on the TalkSport network, and here on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2, two sides hoping for better: Swansea City and Hull City. Swansea currently in the relegation zone, Hull on the slide after 3 successive defeats. And here is Greaves for Hull, infield towards Tobias Figueiredo, who was part of the Nottingham Forest side who were promoted last season via the playoffs. But he has been part of that conveyor belt out of the City ground, and it's been a revolving door in many ways, with as many new faces coming in, but they're yet to gel. And Figueiredo has been part of the whole team who have found life difficult so far, or certainly in recent weeks, as it's flicked on up towards the halfway line by Estepinian, and now Tufan will quickly close down, but it's been won back by Swansea on the far side, played down the line by Nathan Wood. Wood does well to keep the ball in play, but as Swansea try and win the ball back on the far side, Sorinola has lost out and Hull will win back possession. David Connolly. As Jack Grealish gives Manchester City the lead over on TalkSport at Hull. Wolves, rather.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's just settled down. Hull are having an awful lot of the ball at the minute, which is a surprise, but very comfortable in possession, just making Swansea chase a little bit over the pitch, and Cole Norton will have a little bit of a job to do. Esteban, I don't think, or Oscar, some people say call him Oscar. He's got Oscar on the back of his shirt, he likes to, but he's a centre forward that they're going to have to really keep their eyes on, because boy, he can finish, as you showed in the first few weeks of the season.
Yeah, 7 goals in 7 games for Estepinian, including a hat-trick in the 3-2 win against Coventry, but it's 3 defeats in a row, more recently against Queen's Park Rangers, Sheffield United and Stoke, 3-0 at home on Tuesday night. As Hull look to come forward now, up towards the edge of the penalty area, and a shot is fired in from Seri, right-footed 25 yards out, and a back-pedalling bender did well to arch his back and turn the ball over the top.
Yeah, he's rough a strike. He's a good 25 yards out, Seri, but first thought in his mind, I'm just going to hit this first time, and he was just dropping under the bar. The goalkeeper back, so had to tip it over. They also had Coyle on the overlap that they could have used. Really good start here from the away team.
And Harvey Vale will take the corner on this near side for Hull City. Seri is the short option, but Vale may look to swing this ball in with the black socks pulled up very high over his knees. It's in towards the near post, left-footed, and it's cleared away comfortably by Pirou. And on the halfway line, Louis Coyle with the ponytail inside towards Jean-Michel Seri, all the way back to one of 2 Chelsea loanees in the starting lineup for Hull today. Nathan Baxter, the goalkeeper, who clears long downfield. Now Wood will gather on the far side for Swansea. And Carl Norton, who has been here now since 2015, so he has seen a good deal of coming and going from the Premier League years to life now in the lower reaches of the Championship. A reminder, Wolves against Manchester City, live on TalkSport. City already a goal up thanks to Jack Grealish. Coming up later on today, Game Day Live on TalkSport with Adrian Durham. All the goals as they go in. And Newcastle against Bournemouth with Ian Danter and Mickey Gray is our 3 o'clock offering from the Premier League here on TalkSport 2. Brentford against Arsenal, now a 12 o'clock kick-off tomorrow. We'll have that game live for you on TalkSport with Sam Matterface and Andy Townsend. As Manning comes forward now for Swansea, cuts it back into the penalty area. Pirou's right foot shot comes back off the crossbar with Baxter nowhere, and that's a real escape for Hull. And Joel Pirou, a player who needs a goal, almost provided one there. Yeah,
it's an excellent attack here from Swansea. We spoke about Ryan Manning not crossing from deep. This time he breaks into the box, gets his head up, picks out Pirou, lovely little cutback, just in around the penalty spot, opened his right boot out, just tried to side foot this home. It was always rising, came off the underside of the bar, really unlucky.
Both sides going close in the opening 4.5 minutes here. And that's the sort of Swansea City play which Russell Martin will appreciate. The wing-backs getting forward, a good delivery, and there were 2 or 3 players looking to finish that off, and Pirou may believe he should have done. Now Norton at the heart of the back 3 alongside Cabango, a player who has been right across the back line with Swansea during his time here, but his ball forward towards Fulton is cut out, and now Hull will try and break with Regan Slater over the halfway line, wide towards the far side, and the challenge comes in on Callum Elder, and in the end Keith Stroud has given the decision and the free kick Hull City's way.
Well, he's had a couple of chances now in the last few games, Pirou, and hasn't taken them. That might be just weighing on his mind. 2 against Sheffield United, which he had brilliant sort of bits of footwork to actually create the opening. That one was put on a plate, not a plate, because he was a good 12, 13 yards out, but
clear sighted goal though, if you're a striker, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming on to it, first time finish. You can see the goal posts in front of you, so he might be disappointed. That's 3 good chances he's had.
Swansea looking to play out from the back once again. Both coaches wearing all black inside the technical area. Hull are currently down to 10 players. They had a player being treated on this near side. There was a collision in the build-up to that move which led to the shot coming back off the crossbar as Norton plays a high ball over the top again, and Swansea have a break into the penalty area. Pirou again was clean through, and this time he drives it wide of the near post, and Joel Pirou has head in hand. We've only played 6 minutes, but he should have scored twice already.
Absolutely. I just wonder whether fortune just gets in the way here. A ball over the top, simple ball over the top, maybe because Hull are down to 10 and there's two Swansea players streaking away. Piru with the first time sort of finish, he goes with the outside of his left boot, but the ball doesn't curl back in. I mean, everyone rose to their feet. They thought that was a certain goal. Instead, it was a bad miss at the near post.
And it's Dimitras Pelkas who is being treated on this near side. The Greek international on loan from Fenerbahce. Hull with 13 different nationalities signed during the transfer window. 6 from Turkish clubs, 20 players brought in, 22 left including loans. And Aykun İlkay, the Turkish media mogul who runs the club, has certainly bankrolled Shota Arveladze's ambitions in the transfer market, but it will always take time for a team to bed in and settle down, and I'm not sure that Arveladze knows his best team yet.
Well, possibly not. There's a few like that. I think you look at maybe Forest last night, another side with a lot of signings, trying to find their best team.
And now the bounce of the ball beats Coyle on this near side in the sunshine, and Manning has it for Swansea again. Plays it back in field to Grimes, who will try and set the tempo at the heart of midfield alongside Joe Allen. Now Grimes again, low towards the edge of the penalty area. Pirro just peels off, looking to draw the challenge from Greaves, but Hull are able to clear, and now it's forward again from Estepinian, looking for the support of Bale on this near side, just in front of the Hull technical area. Arveladze was appealing for something, and now Cooper is strong enough to ride the challenge of Seri, and he breaks towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's wide towards the far side, and Sorinola on loan from Union Saint-Gilloise in Belgian football, the team which really should have won the Belgian title last season, and he's on the ball again now, looking to attack, and his cross is blocked at the near post by Callum Elder. Spins out of play, and it will be a throw in for Swansea by the corner flag on the far side.
I'll tell you what, Nigel, Keith Stroud, two superb advantages there played, because there was a couple of fouls. It could have gone maybe to Swansea's way, an easy free kick. Instead he allowed play to continue, and that was excellent refereeing.
Now Grimes has the opportunity to play in Fulton again, who is trying to get as close to Joel Pirro as he can do, and maybe he was too close with the opportunity they had a few moments ago, which Pirro put wide. Now Cabango finding Joe Allen, who shows all of his experience to shrug off Ostepinian. Wide from Grimes towards Sorinola on the far side. Once again, one of a number of young players Russell Martin has brought into this side. And now Pirro almost played in by a good ball forward from Grimes inside the penalty area, but it was cut out well by Figueiredo. But Hull under pressure here as Swansea with a throw in on the far side. Lovely sunlit day here, but plenty of puffy white clouds overhead and a few grey ones banking up, coming in from the Mumbles away to our right, as Cabango had the opportunity to play it forward, but instead was patient. That is the mantra which is preached by Russell Martin. He often says there is no plan B. It's all about getting better at plan A, but you do wonder at times when things aren't going so well if Swansea could just keep hold of the ball and have possession for possession's sake.
Well, certainly they've got Hull at the minute just on the ropes, chasing around. This is an excellent spell from the home team.
Now Cooper with the fair hair, finding Manning again. Grimes the captain, square to Wood, midway inside the Hull half. Allen wide towards the far side in Pirro. Sorinola is on the overlap. His cross low in though is blocked at the near post by Elder, the Australian. Now Sorinola once again back towards Grimes, and Swansea maintaining possession here. There's a real fluency to their passing in the opening 11 minutes on TalkSport 2, but it's still 0-0. But both sides will believe they should have scored. Now Sorinola once again, wide on the far side. Infield to Grimes, and Grimes and Allen should be A very dependable partnership at the heart of midfield as Estepinian leaves something on Cabango, but Keith Stroud again allows play to continue because Norton sweeps it wide to the right and Sorinola, first time ball into the penalty area, and it's blocked at the near post by Elder, and it bobbles behind for a corner to Swansea.
Yeah, I think Keith Stroud again, superb refereeing there, allowed the advantage, and Swansea, what you would say, really patient play, excellent at times. The ball's gone out to Sorinola twice now. He's crossing the box, has been a poor one. It's either been cut out, this time he's got away with it because he's got a corner, but you just need better end product. When it comes to Manning out on the left in space, he normally picks a really good ball out when he's crossing into the area. Sorinola twice now, it's got to do a little bit better.
Swansea corner on the far side, which will be an in-swinger, but Keith Stroud is just sorting out some pushing and holding around the penalty spot, and he's speaking to Ben Cabango. Among others, Jacob Greaves was also in there, and it's whipped in towards the 6-yard area, headed away. Cooper was challenging for it. Now Allen plays it wide to the far side again, and the angle is opened out for the cross deep towards the far post, and Fulton tries to head the ball back into the 6-yard area, but he was always off balance. It skips off the top of his head and behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, he's unlucky. I mean, good ball in there from Manning, and when you've got the likes of Allen and Grimes, they've got real craft and guile in the middle of the park. You just feel that they're close to picking a pass, finding Pirro in a bit of space, as they have done already a couple of times.
But Swansea on top, as they were for spells against Sheffield United here on Tuesday, and of course they were eventually beaten right at the end. They've conceded 4 added time goals in the Championship, 5 in all competitions, and it's cost them 5 points in the opening month or so of the season, and they would be 9th in the table if games finished at 90 minutes, but they were 2-0 up here against Millwall and only drew thanks to 2 own goals in added time. Also dropped points at Stoke, and they were beaten here by a very late goal for Sheffield United live on TalkSport 2 the other night. Now Coyle, wide to this near side, and Vale. And Figueiredo had the opportunity to knock it long, delayed, was closed down by Cooper, and Cooper's challenge sends the ball squirting out on this near side, and it will be a throw into Hull City. And when you're conceding that many late goals, does it become a mental issue rather than a physical one?
Yeah, often does, certainly. And just looking at Swansea, really good in possession. Just looked at that pass that was played into Cooper there. It reminded me of a little move. I don't know if you remember Haaland's goal against West Ham where Gundogan fed him in. And that sort of is the position that the likes of Cooper and Fulton are in for Swansea, with Pirou there, Erling Haaland. And it comes to Cooper, touch gets away from him, the pass is under hit, easily cut out, and that's the fine sort of margins if you're a striker you're relying on. You're relying on someone like Cooper and Fulton to supply the bullets, right? And he's had a couple of chances already, but I think you give the likes of Grimes and Allen the ball and they'll certainly create something.
And Russell Martin has been a bit prickly in his press conferences recently when people have questioned the need for results as against style of play, as Sorinola's cross into the penalty area is cleared away, but ultimately it's the Championship, and often you do have to find a way, and Hull are trying to do that now with Tufan. The early ball into the penalty area, Estepinian though was heavily marked, and it's cleared away by Norton up towards the halfway line. Now Grimes quickly on towards Cooper. Cooper leaves Seri trailing in his wake, but a good challenge coming in from Jacob Greaves. Here is Allen though for Swansea, back where it all began for him, and Allen down the right hand side swirls across towards Pirou, cleared away by Figueiredo, and now on the edge of his own penalty area, Greaves will play it wide towards the far side again. It's played long down the line, but quickly won back, and Grimes on the edge of the D inside the Hull City half finds Cooper wide towards Manning, first time ball into the area. Pirou was the target, defended well though by a lunging Figueiredo, and Hull City will clear downfield again up towards the halfway line.
They just can't get out at the minute, Hull. I mean, I come back to Sorinola, another cross cut out. It's got to do better, but this is an excellent spell. Can they craft something of quality here?
Now the shot from Cooper, good save going down low from Baxter. A Swansea player goes down inside the penalty area as it comes back to Cooper, and this time the shot is deflected behind it, a corner. But brilliant goalkeeping there by Nathan Baxter to make the save when Cooper seemed certain to score.
Yeah, really good strike. Another excellent, this time ball, much better ball coming in from the right hand side, low, a bit like Manning's one from the left. Good first time finish from Cooper. Baxter at full stretch, palms it back to Ryan Manning, couldn't quite sort his feet out. Ricochet came back to Cooper on his left, he dragged the shot wide via a deflection.
Another corner, swirled in high from Manning and way over hit. 2 bounces straight out of play, and it will be a goal kick. Erling Haaland has scored again for Manchester City. 14 goals now for the season. They're 2 goals up on TalkSport away to Wolves. And that game is very much going with form so far. 16 minutes played here. Swansea 0, Hull 0 on TalkSport 2. Of course, these sides have relatively recently been in the Premier League. Hull's last win here came in the top flight by 2 goals to 0 in August of 2016, but it's only 2 wins in 19 trips overall for Hull City. And these 2 clubs met 6 times in the Premier League, but they've also met in all 4 divisions, and it's only 20 years ago that Swansea had to win their final match of the season to stay in the Football League itself when they were in real financial trouble at the Vetchfield. But Brian Flynn guided them to safety. James Thomas with a hat-trick on the final day of the season in a 4-2 win against Hull, and the other goal that day was scored by the late Lenny John Rose, who passed away recently.
I tell you what, they've had some really good sort of series of passages of play here, Swansea, getting the likes of Fulton in little pockets in behind Seri in midfield, just that final pass trying to pick up Pirro. I look at Swansea when they don't have the ball, when Hull have it out wide from their sort of full-backs in wide areas, they're trying to force them down the line, don't let them come in field, and it's worked well so far. They've turned the ball over an awful lot, and Hull just can't get up the pitch.
Allen again plays it wide to the far side, and a lunging Wood has lost out, and Hull will try and break again. Slater with a good ball forward, and Vale now has support down the right, but it's wide to the left, and Pelkas with a low ball into the penalty area beyond Ozan Tufan, and Allen had got back to clear with the help of Grimes, and Swansea play their way out of trouble very neatly. Good ball forward from Wood to find Fulton, who pirouettes on the halfway line, and Grimes brings it forward again here, and very quickly there are half a dozen white Swansea shirts inside the Hull half. The cross in looking for Pirro again, but it's volleyed clear at the near post by Figueiredo, straight back out towards Fulton. Now Grimes, who always seems to play the game at his own pace, infield towards Joe Allen again. Allen, though, has been caught and no free kick has been given. Tufan won it, and now Seri, all on his own with 3 Swansea players around him, tries to reverse it back towards Tufan, who was heavily marked himself. It breaks down, and Swansea had the ball back with 19 minutes played on TalkSport 2, and it's still goalless.
Yeah, just Joe Allen taking too long in possession there. I think he was just hoping that maybe Cole Norton might drop out a little bit wider, that he could find him. Couldn't find him on the pass, spent a bit too long, lost possession. Estepan was away. Doesn't quite have the pace, though, does he, to really race away. So eventually the Swansea backline caught up with him.
Estepan, the Colombian international, in what is a very cosmopolitan team. Figueiredo from Portugal, Seri from the Ivory Coast, and there's also an Australian elder in the side, along with quite a few academy products. Fulton inside the penalty area. Good challenge coming in on this near side by Jacob Greaves, but Swansea have it back, but it breaks down with Cooper on the edge of the penalty area. Vale plays it in field towards Tufan, and it's an intelligent ball. Pelkas wide towards the far side, and Callum Elder sprinting forward from fullback. Early cross towards the near post over the head of Estepinian, and gathered well at ground level by Bender.
Yeah, and he's just got Grimes just settling down to his goalkeeper. Take our time, and Joe Fulton with the giveaway. You've got to look after that ball. Played him on the edge of the box. His touch, ball just bobbles away from him, and then Hull on the counter. And you know, at times they've looked like a bit of a threat. Sometimes they've had a man over, a man extra than Swansea at the back. So Russell Martin's just got to get that get that right. Make sure they're not always outnumbered, and they have been a couple of times now.
Well, they do have the extra player in midfield because Swansea playing 3-4-3 and Hull playing 4-3-3. Now Vale on this near side, Chelsea's Academy Player of the Year, making his full debut in senior football. Did play for Chelsea in the FA Cup last season. Now Greaves, wide towards the far side. Slater though with a heavy first touch, and it's been given away, and Pirro was on his bike once again over the halfway line. The early ball forward for him, but it's cut out well by Greaves.
He's got to look after it. Sorinola again. It reminds me of Leon Bailey last night. Must have lost the ball 20 plus times. Sorinola so far again, too many.
Now Coyle with a powerful run forward for Hull. Strikes the ball in, left-footed. Cutting in from the right. It wasn't too far wide, and Louis Coyle left 2 or 3 Swansea players trailing in his wake there, but failed to hit the target, and Russell Martin is stood there gesticulating towards his defenders saying, how on earth did that happen?
Yeah, that is Ryan Manning. He's pinning Ryan Manning saying, that is you can't allow him to come on the inside, he's your man, you make sure you block that.
Now Seri. A number of these players on both sides will be involved in international football during the international break. We will have commentary of Wales's game in Belgium on TalkSport on Thursday night. I'll be alongside Dean Saunders for a big game for Wales. They want to stay in Group A of the Nations League. Italy against England with Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce will be on Friday evening, and then on Saturday in the WSL, big game, big crowd at the Emirates Stadium for Arsenal against Tottenham. Sheffield Wednesday against Wickham in League One will be on TalkSport 2 at 3 o'clock. Plymouth against Ipswich on Sunday at 12:30, with Chelsea against Manchester City on TalkSport at 4 o'clock also on Sunday. And England against Germany will be a week on Monday, live from Wembley, and Scotland against Ukraine will be on TalkSport on Tuesday the 27th. All coming up during the international break across the TalkSport network. More football than anyone else, over 450 games including the World Cup. Only 2 months away now. And of course Wales will be there, and players like Joe Allen will be part of the scene for them, fitness permitting. Ben Cabango in the Wales squad once again will be also hoping to nail down a place before the opening game. And Cabango now plays the ball inside to Grimes. Norton finding Wood, and now Norton again, who is very much the senior player in the Swansea team now at the age of 33 alongside Joe Allen. And Russell Martin has found himself under a degree of pressure this season. He guided MK Dons to survival in his first season there, having inherited a difficult situation, and then moved on to Swansea City after consolidation. And it was a season of transition and consolidation here last season as well. But he's already spoken about the desire of the owners here to get him to develop assets so they can be sold on, and maybe by saying that he's making the point that ambitions to return to the Premier League, or even look like they could compete to return to the Premier League, might be wide of the mark.
Oh yeah, I think it's a long way off. Long way to go for Russell Martin, but that's okay as long as he's given time to build. I think that's what you want as a manager. Often it isn't the case, not given.
Well, of course, Steve Cooper reached the playoffs twice here as the flag is up for offside against Swansea with 24 minutes played, 0-0.
2 offsides now, Nigel. Too many for Swansea, especially Ryan Manning the first time. Then again the second time, you're looking along the line, it just kills your attacks. Got to make sure they stay on. And it kind of like the tempo's dropped a bit, hasn't it, for Swansea? He had a really sort of, after the first 5 minutes, really good spell in possession and dominating the play. It's just dropped off a little bit. This is where Russell's got to get out. He is now out of his technical area, get the boys going again.
And there's a match in the Women's Super League today at half-time. Manchester United are leading Reading by 4-0. Expectation at United this season that they could challenge Manchester City, who have been weakened by a number of departures at the Academy Stadium. And it looks like a very good start for Mark Skinner and his team. Swansea with 68% possession in this game so far, but they've had as many shots on target as Hull have.
Yeah. It's often the case, you know, when you're coming here. They had that one victory against QPR and they had less of the ball, but I think that was after, you know, a couple of long bus journeys, Stoke and Middlesbrough, and maybe it just took it out of him. So I think Russell just changed his game up a little bit. Happy not to maybe have it as much.
Yeah, 2 wins, 3 draws and 4 defeats. The one at Blackpool when Obafemi scored in the final moments, and that victory here against Queen's Park Rangers. And Michael Obafemi on the bench today after his move to Burnley collapsed before the end of the transfer window, and he's not played since. Now a ball lofted over the top for Fulton down the right. He'll keep the ball in play, does he? No. And it's gone behind for a goal kick. 26 minutes played on TalkSport 2. 0-0 here at the Swansea.com stadium. And looking around this ground, when you've come here in recent years, it's always been pretty close to full capacity, around 19,000-20,000, but a long way short of that here today, particularly behind the goal away to our right-hand side. And it's a sign of the times, 2 home games in a week, and the cost of living crisis and everything else. But also, when your team's not winning at home, fans often vote with their feet.
Yeah, that's right.
Now Vale coming forward for Hull down this near side. Has Coyle on the overlap, a crossing opportunity high to the far post beyond Estepinian, but quickly recovered, fired back into the box first time, and it ricochets out towards Seri. Coyle is still there down the right, low ball in towards the near post. It's not being defended conclusively. Pelkas on the stretch, unable to get a telling touch, and it breaks for Swansea. And here is Cooper on this near side. Pirro is making the break over the halfway line, supported by Fulton, and Fulton stopped running there, and had he kept on going, the ball from Cooper would have found him, he would have been clean through.
Yeah, I think Ryan Manning might be down here though. Obviously tried to stop Coyle putting the cross in the box, and it looks like he's hurt himself. But then, you know, when they attacked Swansea, it's that final pass. It's been really, really poor. Cooper again guilty, Sorinola, you know, Fulton at times. There was that, you know, they couldn't quite keep the ball in play, went out for a goal kick. I think Fulton could have got there a little bit quicker. Sense of frustration from the fans as well.
Yeah, Manning is receiving treatment inside the penalty area. A reminder, over on TalkSport today, Wolves trailing 2-0 at home to Manchester City. Grealish in the first minute, Haaland in the 16th minute. Manchester City with 4 shots on target so far in the game. Looks to be a match of domination there for them. Swansea City have dominated possession here, but arguably Hull City have had as many clear-cut chances to take the lead. The shot from Seri, which was tipped over the bar by Bender, and the flurry inside the penalty area there. And with this injury, both groups of players have been pulled in towards the 2 coaches, and both Martin and Arveladze are very animated at the moment.
Well, it's not just Ryan Manning. It looks like Joe Allen's down as well for Swansea in the centre circle, so that's a little bit of a concern.
And that will be a concern for Wales as well, with that game coming up against Belgium live on TalkSport on Thursday. I remember seeing Joe Allen score his first senior goal for Swansea as a 17-year-old in the South Wales derby, the final South Wales derby at Ninian Park. And Mike Dean was the referee that day, got his face split open by a coin, and in the end Cardiff conceded, or rather were given, a penalty in the final moments, and it finished 2-2.
Well, it looks like there's going to be a change here.
Yeah, Allen is coming off, and Luke Cundle is preparing to come on. And Luke Cundle, another youngster on loan from Wolves, and this will be a concern not just for Russell Martin but also for Robert Page as well. Double header for Wales coming up, away to Belgium and at home to Poland, and of course the World Cup beyond that, and Joe Allen has gone off here with half an hour played.
Well, all eyes are on Ryan Manning. That was the obvious injury, but it was actually Joe Allen in the centre circle. He's the one that's now departed the pitch. And I guess Cundle was, along with Armstrong, Oko Flex and Finn Stevens, one of these loanees from the Premier League. You know, been on the bench for a little bit, but obviously need to go and get some games.
It is a very young bench for Swansea. Finn Stevens 19, Olivier Uncham is the old man on the bench at 26, Kundal 20, Okaflex 20, Darling 23, Fisher the goalkeeper is 24, and Obafemi 22. And there is a lack of depth really for Swansea. There may be talent, but in terms of experience they don't really have the depth. Swung wide by Tufan towards the far side. You may have heard the yelp of pain there as he went down. Shota Avaladze is convinced they should have a free kick, and he turns towards Craig Hicks, the fourth official, to make that point now. And Keith Stroud is coming back to check on the Turk, and it did seem a late challenge.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, the ball was gone, and it was still a dreadful crossfield pass from Tufan. He had two players to try and pick out. He split them, put it in between both of them, and I think he's all right.
31 minutes played on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. And alongside all of our live action, you can hear the EFL show, radio's only dedicated programme for the Football League, on Monday and Friday nights. And often on a Friday night we are building up to a big game in the Championship, and that will be the case during October. A number of big matches coming up on Friday nights to look forward to. And we'll hear all the goals from the Football League and beyond on Game Day Live with Adrian Durham, Perry Groves and Chris Owellamo on TalkSport from 2:30. And there will be a full classified results check at 5 o'clock, where it's always been and where it should be. Played out now by Norton, then back towards the goalkeeper Bender, who had to deal with a lively back pass, and as a result he clears it long straight out of play. It was fielded there by Andy Fisher, the backup goalkeeper, inside the technical area, and Hull will have a throw-in. And we were talking to Don Goodman, our television colleague, before kick-off, and he was mentioning that since Stephen Bender has come into the team there's been less possession for Swansea, and maybe that's because they've been playing the ball longer, because Bender's not as comfortable playing the ball out.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Russell Martin just pointed to Bender there and said you should have gone out to the right-hand side rather than come over to the left, but also don't go back to him. You know, stay on the ball. They've got enough quality in there. Cole Norton had no real need to go back to his goalie there. He could have played forward himself.
Now a high ball played forward again, looking for Pelkas, but it's overhit, and again there were Swansea players all around him.
It's a low press, I guess, from Hull, isn't it? You know, when Swansea have the ball, it's sort of walking pace for those Hull players, just trying to get in a little bit of position, just block the passing lanes, but no real pressure on the ball as such, just dropping off into a bit of a mid-block.
Nathan Collins has been sent off for Wolves, 2-0 down at home to Manchester City over on TalkSport 2, and it could get very ugly for them in the final hour of that game at Molineux. 33 minutes played here, 0-0, but it's been a lively game in parts, and both teams have had opportunities. Now Grimes with a high ball swept towards this near side. Manning just ducks to allow the ball to drift over his shoulder to keep the ball in play. He will now take on Coyle and plays it back to Kabanga, who is forward. The central defender strides in field from the left, finding Grimes low into Pirro on the edge of the penalty area on the half turn. Now Kabanga back towards Grimes again and wide to Manning, but it's cut out by Tufan, and it will be a throw-in on this near side for Swansea again.
Well, I mean, they're so glad, I'm sure they're glad. Disappointed Allen's off, but at least Ryan Manning has stayed on the pitch, because he gives them so much. You know, brilliant little bit of play there to get past Coyle, set the ball back, and he's just got that bit of class about him. I mean, surprised he's not in the Ireland squad, really am.
Now Cooper back in field again towards Wood. And Swansea in patches have played some very presentable football, but with no finishing touch, and that's been the story of their season. Sorinola with a cross in, which is deflected at the near post off Kundal, and it bobbles into the arms of the goalkeeper Nathan Baxter.
Not good enough, Nigel. You know, I think this is the fourth time I've critiqued Sorinola, and you know, once you get in and around those forward areas, in and around the box, you know, you want a decent penalty area entry, and whenever it's come to Sorinola, he's barely beaten the first man, or it's been easily cut out.
And now Stephen Bender comes outside his penalty area to control. The Swansea goalkeeper shows an excellent first touch to cushion a dropping ball, and Swansea quickly get moving again. Here is Cundall forward towards Cooper. Cooper was caught there on the edge of the penalty area as he tried to slide it wide to Manning, but Keith Stroud says no free kick, it was merely a coming together, and it will be a goal kick for Hull with 35 minutes played, 0-0 here at the Swansea.com Stadium. You mentioned there that Ryan Manning is not in the Republic of Ireland squad. I would imagine at 26 these days he's too old.
Possibly. Him and, well, Leonardo DiCaprio and his girlfriend, that's about it, isn't it? Ends at 25, 26.
Well, Michael Obafemi is in the Republic of Ireland chat. He's 22 years of age, of course, on the bench for Swansea here. And there are a number of other players. Armstrong Okaflex, I would imagine, will be on the international scene at senior level fairly soon as well.
I tell you what, I think that was a foul from Coyle, because he's just come across Cooper, and it should have, I think it should have been a free kick. Got away with that one. That's the first mistake I think Keith Stroud, the referee, has made. I think it's an excellent game so far, but he got that one wrong.
Now Cundall does well to control and lay it wide to this near side, the left of Manning. High towards Sorinola, who has come in field. Laid off to Fulton. It's all very narrow as Sorinola drops in, so it's Pirro, the main striker, who's providing the width out on the right. Now Cooper again, finding Grimes, and Cundall will go back towards Fulton again, and it's extremely intricate for Swansea as they try and find a way here. Now inside the penalty area, Cooper looks for control, appeals for handball, but Keith Stroud very deliberately pats his right thigh and says there was no handball against Figueiredo, and Hull clear on the far side, but it will come straight back. 37 minutes played. Swansea 0, Hull 0 on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2, with Newcastle against Bournemouth coming up at 3 o'clock from the Premier League. Now Cundall, who was out-muscled there, and Hull had the opportunity to break, and it's Harvey Vale, the teenager, on this near side. He's looking around for Coyle to overlap, but he stays where he is, so it's back towards Coyle now. Vale drops in behind him, so Coyle has the opportunity to attack down the right, and his driven cross in is deflected away by Manning, and it will be a throw into Hull City. Maybe just signs of a lack of chemistry there between Coyle and Vale on the right.
Absolutely, yeah. As soon as Harvey Vale received it, he was expecting Coyle to already be getting around him, but a little bit slow on the uptake there, Coyle, and I think Ryan Manning had his number. It doesn't quite possess the same sort of pace. When we saw here Reece Norton-Davies the other night, for Sheffield United, a real pace that troubled Sorinola, but Hull don't really possess that.
But here is Elder, the Australian international, in towards Tufan on the edge of the penalty area, but he's quickly challenged, and the ball spins away on the far side again. And Callum Elder, ball in Sydney, will take the throw in here in Swansea. Now Coyle finding Seri, and it's a driven ball wide towards Elder again, and it's a good ball. Elder brings the ball down on the chest, lofts it in towards Estepinian, who went for the dramatic overhead kick, and in the act of doing that he missed the ball, but he caught Ryan Norton, who is now writhing in agony inside the penalty area, and play will be halted again here with 6 minutes to go in the first half. It's still 0-0, but another Swansea player requires treatment.
Yeah, just holding his left knee here. Oscar just came into contact with Carl Norton as this ball came into the box, well cleared in the end, but it wasn't actually Norton that cleared it, and in the end Cooper dealt with the danger. But it's another injury, stops the flow of the game, doesn't it? It's been a bit bitty, started with a really good tempo, but a couple of injuries and stoppages have just slowed it a little bit, the flow, lost momentum.
And so there is treatment for Carl Norton. A reminder over on TalkSport, it's currently Wolves 0, Manchester City 2. Nathan Collins has been sent off for Wolves, and I'm about to show David Connolly a still of the incident which led to his red card. Studs into the throat of Jack Grealish.
Yep.
And that looks fairly conclusive. And you can catch up with the action there with Andy Townsend and Sam Matterface. And the best way to follow all of the action today is to download the TalkSport app and go to our live commentary section, and you can swipe between the two commentaries and the stations available and listen to the action throughout the day as Carl Norton, who already has his left thigh heavily strapped, comes across towards this near side, and he's just hobbling. I think there was an apology there from Oscar Estepina, and I don't think there was any intent. He was looking to produce the sort of finish which will be replayed on social media time and time again, but he caught none of the ball and all of Norton.
Well, he's there, Norton, as that middle centre-back, because he hasn't really played that often. Played against Stoke there, and also played right-back, or, number of positions. But he's really mobile as that middle centre-back, so, up against sort of pace and strength, he's able to see it, see the ball, see the player coming in. I saw him last season, though, struggle against the sort of might of Mitrovic, which I think a lot of people would. But, that big, strong, really physical sort of player like Mitrovic just out-muscled him a couple of times. But I think he's done well, mobility-wise. He's quick across the ground. I like him.
Another player is down. Hull City have a free kick this time. It's Jean-Michel Seri with the peroxide top, who is just getting back to his feet.
Well, the fans are getting to their feet. I think they're getting off an early...
Yeah, a number of people just in front of us are getting up to make their way to the hospitality areas.
And judging by the faces, I don't think they're too pleased with what they're seeing so far. Not a lot to get excited about, is there? A couple of chances for Pirro, but
very early on, and since then there's been some pretty approach work, but no punch.
No, absolutely.
And the Hull owner is sat just away to our right as well. He's here today. There's some Ilakali. He owned a club in the Netherlands, Fortuna Sittard, before taking over from Assem Alan, who did oversee Hull's promotion to the Premier League on a couple of occasions, but it's fair to say he was a very unpopular owner during much of his time with the fans. There was the early attempt to change the name to Hull Tigers, which didn't go down well. And now Manning finds Pirro for Swansea down the left-hand side. Manning continues in support, but it's infield to Cundall, who came on for the injured Joe Allen. Wide to Sorinola. Sorinola comes in. Left foot shot from him is over the top. But Swansea need to see more of that.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Again, though, he doesn't really work the goalkeeper. Good move. I guess Pirro held it up, back to Cundall, swept it out wide to Sorinola, but he's always rising and went over the bar. I think it's wasteful. Another wasteful moment from Sorinola. Don't think he's done enough as the right wing back. I think he's struggled against Sheffield United, and I think they could do with a little bit extra down that right hand side.
Well, he was known to Russell Martin. They were together at MK Dons before Sorinola moved on to Belgian football, and was part of a really good story last year when his club Saint-Gilloise almost won the league before they were eventually overhauled by Club Brugge. And we have 90 seconds of normal time to play here in the first half, and the game is possibly padding out how many people thought it would do. Swansea dominating possession but creating very little, and Hull City, after 3 successive defeats, they were among the early leaders with 3 wins, a draw and a defeat before a trio of losses. They were third place after beating Bristol City, Norwich and Coventry, and drew at both Preston and Burnley, but since then they have dropped like a stone. And of course you can do that at this stage of the season within 2 or 3 games, but Shota Arveladze will be hoping they can soon be on an upward swing once again. A player who's probably best known in this area or these parts for his time at Glasgow Rangers, but he was also a prolific striker for Ajax in the late 1990s when David would have come across him. Now Sorinola coming in field, finding Vale, and Seri has it back for Hull on this near side. Coyle down the line for Tufan, clever touch inside, but Vale was beaten to it by Cooper, and Harvey there at the moment at times has looked like a young Premier League loanee trying to adapt to life in the bottom half of the Championship. Yeah,
I think that's a fair assessment, Nigel, and often, as we said at the start, that first loan that you have, it can be a bit of a gamble when you're a manager. You're hoping that they can, produce for you, a bit like a Mason Mount did at Derby, and we've seen, Tommy Doyle at Sheffield United, McAtee. Sometimes those, some are ready, some might just need this first loan and then they'll be better for it. But you want to be the manager when you bring in a loan from a Premier League club. He is ready to go and delivers.
Manchester City still 2 up at Wolves. 10-man Wolves now over on TalkSport. We have a minimum of 4 added minutes here in the first half. Now Pirro found by Cabango inside the penalty area. He's hit the crossbar again. This with a tremendous effort from wide on the left-hand side. Baxter was nowhere, and for the second time in the first half, Joel Pirro rattles the underside of the crossbar, and he cannot believe it.
Yeah, brilliant ball into him though from Ben Cabango. Rather than going wide to Ryan Manning, as that whole back unit just stretched a little bit, he punched it into the front to Pirro down the left-hand side of the box. He had a little look, there was no one up with him, and just thought, right, I'll just go for goal here, and he blasted this at the near post, came crashing down off the underside of the bar. So unlucky.
I wonder if Baxter did get a fingertip to that on the way through, and watching the replay now, maybe
Possibly.
just brushed his gloves, and if he did, that's a very good save. But Joel Pirro and Swansea right out of luck at the moment, and the former PSV Eindhoven player scored 22 goals last season, and with that sort of total you're wondering why Swansea finished in the lower reaches, but there were problems elsewhere. With only 3 goals so far in the current campaign, but he could have had a hat-trick in the first half here.
Yeah, and he could have had 2 the other night as well, quite easily. So he's doing all the right things, you know, he's getting chances, you know, he's a threat to that back line, and you just think at some point, you know, it's going to turn for him.
Swansea have a free kick here, which is being contested by Shota Arveladze just in front of us. Ryan Manning will take it. Swirled high towards the far post, headed away though by Estepinian. And now Norton is the last man on the halfway line, drifts it wide towards the left, but it's over the shoulder and over the head of Cabango and behind for a goal kick. And we have 90 seconds of added time to play in the first half here, and more Swansea fans around us are getting up and heading for the hospitality areas, because it's been a first half in which at times their team has played well. They've not played like a team in the relegation zone, but they've not scored.
No, and it's been a kind of story of their season a little bit, which I'm sure Russell Martin is sick of hearing. All possession and maybe no end product, but you know, doing a lot of things right here. What I liked about that move was the pass from Ben Cabango, received it as the left side centre back. Normally you'd go out to, you know, your left wing back, but as that whole defence just stretched across the pitch, it was right to punch it into the front, and that's the sort of openings, because next time then Hull maybe won't open as wide, they'll be a bit closer as a back unit, then maybe Ryan Manning will be free out wide, and that's the sort of decision making as a player. But Ben Cabango has been class. Here he is again.
And Cabango plays it in field, but it's been quickly given away. But 2 players slide in, and there were studs raised there by Regan Slater, and a yellow card has been shown, and there was a Swansea player who is down in some pain just inside the Hull City half. And looking at this again, and it was a rash challenge there. Kundal was part of that schmozzle on the edge of the penalty area, and it's Norton who has gone down clutching his right ankle.
Yeah, he's been in the wars a little bit, hasn't he, Cole Norton? This time, this one looks a little bit worse.
But it's been a good game in parts, but at the same time, if you're a Swansea fan, you'll be disappointed, and if you're a Hull fan, you'll be thinking, we aren't making the most of the opportunities here, because Swansea play a high line, they're fairly fragile in terms of mentality, and Hull have not really played on that.
No, that's right. I mean, what I guess you would say about Hull, they don't really have the pace to really hurt you, you know, down through the middle anyway. They can afford to keep that high line with Oscar Estepinian there. He's not rapid, whereas I think for Swansea have shown a lot of good stuff, you know, they really have good passages of play, just at times that bit of quality in the final third, whether it's the final pass from Cooper or Fulton, it hasn't quite come in. Sorinola has been disappointing. You know, get it into, say, Joe Pirro and Ryan Manning, you know, they look like something's going to happen.
And Norton is just coming across to this near side. I think it'll be okay to carry on, though.
He might as well just head down the tunnel, surely.
Well, we played 5 minutes now over time, and there will be some more due to the injury. We're still in added time at the end of the first half here, and Norton is waiting for the opportunity to return here as the free kick was played forward, and then Hull City will try and clear, and Keith Stroud eventually waves Norton back onto the field of play. And as he does that, he blows the half-time whistle. So, Swansea City can look back on another hard luck story in the opening 45 minutes. Joel Pirro twice hitting the underside of the crossbar and also shooting wide from a good position. Very early on, Jean-Michael Seri with the best opportunity for Hull, forcing an excellent save from Stephen Bender. But for both teams, really, it's been the same old story. At half-time, Swansea City 0, Hull City 0. Thank you, Dan. Both teams out for the second half here. There don't look to be any further changes to either side. Of course, Swansea losing Joe Allen in the first half, and I was talking to my Welsh media colleagues at half-time, David, and it's going to be the way of the world for Wales over the next couple of months. Every time a senior international player goes off injured, there will be an intake of breath, and people will be thinking about how that will impact the World Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. Fingers crossed. It looked a bit innocuous. We weren't quite sure what happened because all eyes were on Ryan Manning down on the wing where the action was, and then as play stopped, Joe Allen was on his backside sitting down. So yeah, it's a blow for them, but obviously it gives a chance to young Kundal to come on and see what he can do.
And it's Swansea who will get the second half underway, and they will be playing from left to right as we look out from the back of the main stand here. Always a warm welcome at the Swansea.com stadium, and that's been the case here today. But on the field, it's also been the case for too many visiting teams in recent weeks and months. Only one win in 9 home games. That came recently here against Queen's Park Rangers. Another loss against Sheffield United on Tuesday when Joel Pirro missed his chances and they were caught out right at the very, very end. And so far today, Joel Pirro has missed his chances.
Well, I tell you what, for a crowd that haven't seen that many victories, I think they're doing brilliantly out there, trying to be positive and sticking with the team. You don't hear that many murmurings of discontent, or certainly no booing. They're with the team, with the players. I mean, at times you probably want a bit more pressure, right, on you as a player, to go and perform, knowing that maybe the crowd are going to be maybe a little bit more vocal on you, but they're certainly sticking with the team.
Well, in many ways, as far as the phones are concerned, this is what they wanted. They wanted a team playing like this. They wanted to go back to the Swansea way, created by Brendan Rodgers, Roberto Martinez and Michael Laudrup. Even though they twice got to the playoffs under Steve Cooper, there were always murmurings about the style of play. They wanted a passing game. Russell Martin is delivering that, but at the same time, he doesn't have the quality of players that those previous managers did, and that's reflected in the results.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Summed it up perfectly.
Hull wearing all black, looking to attack on this near side.
Do you not think, though, as well as that, Nigel, that some managers, which is why he will feel a little bit under pressure, might take teams that have a certain sort of play, say Forest with Steve Cooper, and he was able to take them up, that I guess that's down to the skill of the coach, right, to get your players in the right. For example, I would have Jamie Patterson on this pitch. He's not even made the squad.
No.
He was on the bench overnight. I know he came on, but he was barely involved. But, I know from my time at Bristol City, he's a really good lad, excellent pro. I'd have him raiding down the right-hand side instead of Sorinola, for example. I think he could do that role. To take him out of the squad and put Obafemi in and light for light, considering you don't have a lot else on the bench, sometimes I just...
Well, there's always been talk that there may have been a bit of a fallout there, yes. And Patterson wanted to move on and didn't move on, and we don't know what's going on behind the scenes, do we?
He's a good player, though. I mean, he's got to be involved. Get him out on that pitch, he will have the quality, more so than, I think a lot of the front players for Swansea.
A long ball played forward now. Kundal was chasing the player who came on for Joe Allen. The Swansea team is Bender in goal, Wood, Norton and Cabango the back three, Sorinola, Kundal, Grimes and Manning, Cooper, Pirro and Fulton. The whole team, Baxter in goal, Coyle, Figueiredo, Greaves and Elder the back four, Seri, Tufan and Slater in midfield, Pelkas, Estepinian and Vale in attack. And Pelkas now, the Greek international, will bring it forward on this near side. Down the line for Tufan, looking to take on Wood and break into the penalty area. He goes a long way, Tufan, and Wood had to recover there. A last-ditch challenge to concede the corner kick.
Right, done really well here, Nathan Wood. He stuck to Tufan. He looked like he got the better of him. Got his arm out, got his body across and just got there ahead of his goalie. But do you know where that comes from? Kundal losing possession. I mean, he picks the ball up about 30 yards outside the whole box and he's driving with the ball. He just gets out muscled out-muscled, and that's the danger with youngsters, maybe not used to playing pro football, easily out-muscled, pushed off the balls. Twice he's had it and lost possession.
Hull City corner on this near side, their left, and it's swung in by Seri, high to the far post, and Swansea will clear, and eventually Cundall turns and knocks it up towards the halfway line, but there was nobody there in a white shirt. Pirro will belatedly give chase, but it's all the way back towards the goalkeeper, Nathan Baxter. And looking at the replays at half-time, it was in fact a brilliant save to turn that shot from Pirro onto the underside of the crossbar just before half-time. In the early stages, he was nowhere when Pirro struck the crossbar from deep inside the penalty area. But Swansea will say the process is working, but they're not finishing. Now Tufan, infield again towards Slater. Slater was caught by Grimes, who came in from the wrong side, and it will be a free kick to Hull, 10 yards inside the Swansea half, with nearly 5 minutes played in the second half, and it's still Swansea City 0, Hull City 0 here on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. Swansea looking to move out of the relegation zone. Hull trying to arrest a run of 3 successive defeats, and now an opportunity on the edge of the penalty area for Pelkas, who turns and curls it right-footed, and it whizzes just over the crossbar.
Yeah, I think this comes from, I think Keisha got this wrong, because I think Grimes does win the ball off Regan Slater, and I don't think it is a foul, but nonetheless, eventually the strike comes in on the edge of the box from Pelkas. Again though, it's over the bar. Finish has been disappointing, I think, from both teams from distance.
Large expanses of empty black and white seats behind that goal away to our left. There is a loyal, hardy knot of Hull fans, maybe 150 have made the trip. A long trip down from East Yorkshire to South West Wales. Best part of 6 hours on a Saturday morning, or maybe the night before for those who can afford it. And plenty of those are decked out in their amber and black, and they're watching the team wearing all black defending now as Pirro brings it forward, and it's dropped off for Cundall on the edge of the penalty area. Manning made the break forward, it comes back to Cundall again inside the box, left foot shot from him, it's hit the crossbar again! For the third time, Swansea have rattled the woodwork in this game. Russell Martin can't believe it, Lee Cundall this time, and Swansea must wonder if their luck will ever turn.
Yeah, I mean, look, he does well, good feet from Cundall in the box just to work the opening. I thought initially Pirro was offside, it looked like he just gathered the ball behind the line, but got back onside. Hull couldn't clear their lines. Cundall trying to work it onto his left foot, bit of an acute angle with his left peg, crashes off the bar. This time it doesn't bounce down but goes over.
Well, it is turning into one of those days for Swansea City, and they have had so many of those recently. Hull's goal leading a charmed life at the moment, as Pirro lays it back towards Grimes, and now laid forward by Manning. Pirro was the furthest player forward. It's won back by Cooper as Figueiredo dallied on the edge of his penalty area. Now Coyle plays it infield to Seri, and Hull will try and build themselves now. Seri's got time on the halfway line to play it wide to Vale, and Vale has got 4 black shirts in field on the edge of the penalty area. Vale cuts in field, looks for Estepinian, back towards Vale again. Vale just slips in the act of playing the ball square towards Slater. It's cut out by Cundall. Cundall though has given the ball away. Seri heads it forward to Estepinian, who tries to turn. Estepinian was there late on Fulton, as Fulton cleared, and it will be a free kick for Swansea on the edge of their own area, and with 52 minutes played, it's still 0-0.
Yeah, it's just not quite happening for Hull or for Harvey Vale. He received the ball out wide on that right hand side, jinked on the infield with his left foot, played a little give and go with Oscar Estepinian, but when he got it back his touch was a little bit off, and then chance was missed.
Manchester City still leading at Wolves 2-0 on TalkSport as Cundall comes forward again. Back it goes towards the halfway line, and Fulton exchanging passes with Grimes, and Jay Fulton was saying in the aftermath of the defeat here to Sheffield United that the senior pros need to help the younger ones through in a difficult time, and he and Grimes have done their best to do that today as Estepinian lays it back on the edge of his own penalty area, but he almost plays Figueiredo into trouble because Pirro was all over him, and Pirro recovers, but there was a critical look from the defender towards the striker. But now Hull are moving forward with some purpose, and it's infield from Elder towards the edge of the penalty area. Now Tufan spins out and plays it wide towards the far side, and Bale looking to attack now. The cross in though is deflected, is it? No, it was a dreadfully poor cross from Bale, and it's gone behind at the near post for a goal kick.
Yeah, again, I just mentioned Harvey Bale. It wasn't happening for him this time. He goes down the outside onto his right foot, and maybe it took a bobble, maybe not, but his cross just shanked straight behind the goal, and again didn't make the most of that.
And Harvey Bale, it's very early days for him in the Championship, but the large gulf between academy football and the real thing is being illustrated once again, but it's a learning curve he will have to cope with as he's shrugged off it by Cooper. Square now to Sorinola, who lets fly with the left foot, but a good lunging challenge from Elder, and Hull City will clear over the halfway line to safety once again.
Yeah, I guess the issue is that you don't want to be the manager where, he's learning on your watch.
Yeah.
But that's the gamble you take when you take a first
You
time
could get the sack, developing his career.
Absolutely, but it can work out, as you mentioned. Mason Mount, amongst others, it can work out.
Harry Wilson at Swansea as well had a very good year, and of course now has found a home at Fulham in the Premier League as Hull come forward again with Pelkas, and he had Estepinian in field, but the pass just evaded him, and you can hear the home crowd get behind their team as Grimes plays it wide to the far side, and Manning, Pirro down the centre. Just for a moment his movement had lost Greaves, but the ball never arrived. It's back towards Grimes again, and Hull here are dropping off very deep out of possession, just leaving Estepinian on the halfway line. Everybody else is back grouped around their penalty area. Grimes wide towards Manning, low ball slid in, looking for Pirro, defended well at the near post. It was a good sliding challenge from Greaves to get there before Pirro at the expense of a corner.
Yeah, it draws applause from the crowd, who you can just hear them a little bit. The tension, anxiety is growing. I think Russell Martin spoke about that after the Luton game where they lost here 2-0, and you can just hear it creeping in. That happens when you haven't scored a goal. It just builds and builds and builds, so they can't tighten up anymore. They've got to keep doing what they're doing here, Swansea, and hopefully they grab one.
Corner kick on the far side, and it's a low outswinger towards Pirro, who pulls away, and he rather miskicks it, but it comes to Cabango on the edge of the 6-yard area. Brilliant challenge from Figueiredo to snuff out his effort. It spins through towards the goalkeeper Nathan Baker, but Figueiredo is now down injured, and he really put his body on the line there to prevent Cabango scoring.
Yeah, brilliant block this is. It's a clever little corner routine, cut back for Pirro, trying to get the strike. He miscues it, falls at the back post, and what a block that is from Figueiredo. We saw one here from Baldock, I remember, for Sheffield United. We saw another one from Basham, which contributed to the goal. Sometimes those blocks are worth a goal. Terrific from Figueiredo.
In the Super League, the Women's Super League, it is still Manchester United 4, Reading 0. All the goals in the opening 35 minutes. Katie Zellum, Alessia Russo, and 2 for Maya Letizier on her debut following her move from Brighton. We have more WSL action next weekend. Arsenal against Spurs, live on TalkSport at 1:30 on Saturday. And it's Chelsea against Manchester City at 4 o'clock on Sunday. We also have League One commentary during the international break. Sheffield Wednesday against Wycombe next Saturday at 3 o'clock. Plymouth against Ipswich 12:30 on Sunday. And we have Papa John's Trophy commentary on Tuesday night. Sheffield Wednesday against Burton. And the international football resumes on TalkSport on Thursday. Belgium against Wales. I'll be alongside Dean Saunders and Hugh Rosencroft for that one, and I would be surprised if Joe Allen's in the team after his injury earlier today here. Now Tufan coming forward for Hull. Wide towards Elder. High cross towards the far post, and Bale with a free header. He leapt and then tried to hang in the air, but he was dropping when the ball eventually hit him on the head, and it looped harmlessly wide.
Well, that's a shame. That was an excellent move from Hull. Holder on the overlap. Lovely play. Terrific little ball dink to the back post, but Harvey Bale never looked like it. They didn't practice many headers. I don't think they do at Chelsea. Certainly not in the development squad.
Swansea trying to play out, but Wood under pressure goes back towards Bender, and Bender in turn plays it straight out of play, and the Swansea fans on the far side are on their feet saying, what on earth are you doing? They do not like to see their team trying to play out when they're under pressure.
Yeah. It's just maybe they're just attempting it a little bit too often at the minute, Swansea, and especially, as I say, that anxiety is growing amongst the crowd the longer it stays 0-0.
But they've been at their most dangerous when they've been maybe a bit more direct and look to hit the ball early and get players in behind.
They just need to get it up into the front. You know, Pirro looks like he's going to score. He can't, continue having these sorts of chances, not taking them. The law of averages say, put one of them away, because he is a really good centre forward.
And you will know as a striker, you've always got to tell yourself that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now Grimes on the halfway line, on the half turn as well, away from Estepinian, and wide to the far side, and Manning sliding low towards Pirro again. But when the ball does come in, there are usually 3 whole defenders around him, and this time Figueiredo gets there to play the ball behind. Yeah, too often though it's easily cut out, so that is where the likes of Cooper and Fulton have got to break and get across the near, because Joel Pirro is not always going to make that run. But okay, they're playing as 2 attacking 10s, but at times one of you's got to be another number 9. Get across the near post, break into the 6-yard box. They're just hoping for a little cutback. An hour played, 0-0, and the corner is very deep. Cabango was leaping at the far post, but so too was Baker, and Baker gets a good fist on that to guide the ball to a safer area, and it will be a throw into Swansea on this near side, which Sorinola will take. Back to Cundle, and if you've joined us late, Joe Allen taken off injured for Swansea in the opening half hour. Must be a doubt for the game coming up live on TalkSport against Belgium on Thursday. And we also have England against Italy away from home on Friday, and then at Wembley, England against Germany on Monday. Both those games live on TalkSport as the build-up to the World Cup continues. Now Swansea looking to build again down their right. Fulton into Grimes. Grimes quickly finding Cundle on the half turn. Sorinola now can attack the penalty area down the right. He's got support from Cundle on the outside, but he crosses high to the far post, and the volley comes in, and Swansea City have finally found a way, and it's Ryan Manning who scores the opening goal. Delight and relief for Russell Martin. That was an excellent ball into the penalty area, and Ryan Manning arriving unmarked to volley the ball into the ground, up and into the net. And after all those chances were spurned, it's the wing-back who eventually scores, and it's Swansea 1, Hull 0.
Well, this is a brilliant goal, because it's wing-back to wing-back. Sorinola, who I was really critical of in the first half with his right foot, cuts back in field and delivers a lovely ball with his left towards the back post. Ryan Manning gets ahead of Coyle on the volley, and it bounces into the ground. It's not a clean contact, but who cares? Nestles in the far corner, and that's superb for Swansea. I felt a goal was coming. They've got it now, and I think it's fully deserved.
But somebody did not trap the run of Ryan Manning there, because he was completely unmarked. Whether Louis Coyle got a bit too narrow, rather caught under the ball there, because they were all drawn towards Ben Cabango, who was still forward inside the penalty area.
It's Harvey Vale who's got to be tracking him, but he just gets ahead of him. Manning, he's a really good, as we said in the first time. I felt but whenever I come and watch Ryan Manning, that's why I said so surprised not on the Ireland squad. He just impresses me every single time. He's got that real bit of quality with his left foot, and I'm really pleased for him.
Second goal of the season, and the breakthrough for Swansea in the 62nd minute here on TalkSport 2. Manchester City still 2 goals up against the 10 men of Wolves. It may be damage limitation there for the home side in the second half on TalkSport. And we'll get team news in just over 5 minutes' time from St James's Park ahead of Newcastle against Bournemouth coming up on TalkSport 2 at 3 o'clock. Brentford against Arsenal on TalkSport tomorrow at noon. But Swansea coming forward again now on the edge of the penalty area. Pirro almost gathered but loses out, but he's showing a real appetite for work, and eventually Fulton slides in to win it back, and Grimes now can play it wide to this near side, and Cabango finding Grimes, and the home crowd, who a few moments ago were on the backs of their players for trying to play the ball out in difficult areas, are now in great voice with their team leading by a 0-0. Now Norton again finding Grimes, and Hull City may already be about to make changes here. as Pirro plays it in towards Cooper, who just lost his footing inside the penalty. Oh, there's a real mistake, and it's 2-0. Luke Condell capitalising on a defensive shambles inside the penalty area. A complete lack of communication between Nathan Baxter and his defenders. They left it all to each other, and Luke Condell was the only player alive to the situation, and he walked the ball into an empty net, and very quickly Hull City's afternoon has completely unravelled, and Swansea City lead by 2-0.
Yeah, look, it's a really good move because it shows Swansea again picking the ball up. There's Cooper in a little bit of a pocket of space off the front, plays a give and go with Pirro, breaks into the box, there's a bit of a foul, and then the goalkeeper comes out of his box back, so clatters into his centre half, and the pair of them make a real mess of this. It just leaves Condell with a really simple task. Figueiredo, I think he just, maybe Baxter just catches his leg from behind, takes his leg away from him by the looks of it. Almost, it just kicks the floor, I think, Figueiredo, and Condell's got a simple task from a couple of yards out just to pick the ball up, takes a couple of touches and just side foots it from 3 or 4 yards out into the back of an empty net.
Well, a team who have been so precise in possession and missed all those chances, they've scored a goal, and very quickly, that just shows how your luck can go. They are gifted a goal within 2 minutes.
Good move though, it comes back to how they've played at times, trying to get the ball into these sort of number 10s just off the front of Pirro. They operate in behind, the whole midfield, Seri and people like that, get turned, play a little give and go, and now it's good football. We saw that a few times in the first half, and then the end product was lacking. Now, tails are up, confidence with that first goal, and they got a second.
2-0, and that is Luke Condell's first league goal in senior football. Scored a few for the Wolves under-23 side. But he'll be delighted with that, the player who came on to replace Joe Allen after half an hour here. Yet to start for Swansea City, but he may get some first-team action in the absence of Joe Allen potentially over the next few weeks. And Hull City here chasing the game 2-0 down as Estepinian goes down inside the penalty area, but he was offside anyway as he collided with Norton. And those Hull fans who have made the 290-mile journey to come and see this game must be wondering what on earth has happened to their team, as Ryan Longman is about to come on, and it's Harvey Vale who is going off.
Yeah, I don't think there's any real surprise. We've spoken about Harvey Vale a lot, and in terms of how he's found it really difficult in this game. Maybe could have done better tracking the run of Ryan Manning, but when he had the ball, I thought it was pretty disappointing, especially second half.
Manchester City now lead by 3-0 over on TalkSport at Wolves, and it's Phil Foden who has got the third goal there. Wolves have been down to 10 men for some time, and now Manchester City with the option of cutting loose should they wish to.
Well, you just wonder now, can Hull stay in the game? 2-0. Previously they've been 3-0 down, 4-0 down, kind of capitulate. Can they get back in the game, show a bit of fight?
Now it's swung wide to the far side towards Figueiredo, and his role in that goal was central. I think he was just waiting for Baxter to pick up the ball, which had bobbled away from Condell, but
he'd already touched it, so he couldn't. He had to deal with that.
It was a comedy collision though, but nobody in Hull City is laughing. Now Coyle, and this would be 4 successive defeats, and the way it's going, the previous 2 had a blank score sheet, and this one is heading the same way. And Shota Abaladze, who was plucked from football in Uzbekistan to manage Hull City, has stood there, arms folded. There have been some interesting characters as Hull City managers in recent years. Leonid Slutsky, the former manager of Russia, was there for a spell, and it was entertaining in terms of the football, but not necessarily the results. And they were 19th last season after promotion under Grant McCann. He was dispensed with very soon after the change in ownership. As a clearance downfield from Baxter again is picked up by Fulton. Will be off to St James's Park shortly, but Cundall brings it forward now for Swansea, and it's wide to the far side and Sorinola. 68 minutes played, Swansea leading here by 2-0. 2 goals in 2 minutes from Ryan Manning and Luke Cundall, his first in senior football, and that's one which Hull won't want to see again as they concede a free kick midway inside their own half. So Swansea with more opportunity. So let's get team news from our 3 o'clock commentary from the Premier League. It's Newcastle against Bournemouth, and we say good afternoon to Ian Dancer.
Good afternoon, Nigel. Newcastle make 2 changes from the 0-0 draw here against Crystal Palace last time out in the Premier League. Geordie fans delighted to see Bruno Guimaraes back in the starting lineup this afternoon. He replaces Longstaff, and Byrne is preferred to Botman at centre half. 1 change for Bournemouth after that brilliant win at Forest last time out. Senesi, the Argentine centre half, displaces the absent Lloyd Kelly at the back, otherwise unchanged. Mickey Gray's alongside me for our 3 o'clock kick-off on TalkSport 2. Newcastle United against Bournemouth.
Thanks, Ian. Free kick here for Swansea. Manning and Fulton are over it for Swansea. And Swansea here are looking for a big win after the issues they've had in recent weeks, as it's played high to this near side, cleared away though by Greaves, and Greaves leaves it for his goalkeeper, and Baxter stays where he is, and for a moment there I thought we were on for a repeat of the second goal, but it bobbles behind.
Just a little shot of the Hull owner there in the stand. And certainly, look, it'll be, I guess, pondering exactly where Hull are going to go this season. You know, maybe they got a bit lucky and have results sort of reverted to the mean.
If you bring in 20 players, you're very lucky if they click straight away. Or if you're Manchester City, you might do that, but you can sign some of the best players in the world. But they don't even do that. They evolve, whereas Hull City have gone for revolution, and it doesn't often work.
Yeah.
Well, Sorinola's gone down on this near side, so it will be a free kick for Swansea, and he's got cramp.
It's certainly a different direction, isn't it, to go from a Grant McCann to a Shota Arveladze, you know, so
I'm not sure that many Hull fans could tell you what the style of play is.
No, I mean, he has flip-flopped a little bit in terms of, you know, his shape and how he does things, but obviously the stats don't lie, you know. Builds a picture, doesn't it? But they've got good players. I mean, the likes of Ryan Woods is coming on, you know, really good player. They have got the players, but they've been pretty poor today. And how do they go and get results against teams that dominate the ball? Well, you know, they got a draw against Burnley when they had, 23% of it, so they can do it.
Yeah, double change coming up. Ryan Woods will be coming along with Greg Doherty for Hull City, so that will stiffen the midfield area, but the Horse may have bolted as far as they're concerned, trailing here by 2-0. And it's just been one of those days where whatever Shota Arveladze has tried, he's been undone by events on the field of play so far.
Well, I mean, Ryan Woods is a defensive midfielder, so, you know, it's not exactly going for it, is it, if you bring Ryan on? It'd be like for like maybe with Slater or Seri.
And Swansea looking to build again here with Grimes, finding Cabango, and the challenge comes in on the scorer at the first goal, Manning on the far side, the left, and now a good ball forward for Norton, helped on by Cundall. Here is Pirro, he's down the centre, the shot deflected wide. It was a really good challenge coming in very late on there to deny Joel Pirro once again, and not for the first time. It was Callum Elder, because Pirro must have thought his wait for a goal was about to come to an end.
Oh, he's got to pull the trigger a lot quicker. He just allows the whole defender to get back in, but I tell you what, the touch here from Cundall is absolutely class. First time the ball is fizzed into him, he's off the front, he opens his right boot out and just helps it round the corner first time, right into the path of Pirro. He's on the run, coming onto the ball, he's just got to get his shot off quicker. But I tell you what, that is brilliant from Cundall.
17 minutes to play, 2-0 to Swansea here on TalkSport 2. Another very deep corner, Fulton's around the back, but it's headed away by Tufan, and it's claimed by Nathan Baxter, and he quickly bowls it out towards the far side, and Coyle will try and get Hull moving again, and when you consider how many late goals Swansea have conceded this season, it's not over yet.
Well, it should be, because Pires had 3 chances.
Yeah, well, it should be. They should be 5-0 up, shouldn't they? Let's be honest.
That'll be the frustration. But the other thing is, some of the passing from the back to the front has been superb. You know, that one, I think it was Cole Norton, you know, that fizzed it into Kundal. It was just brilliant. You know, we saw that with the Pires strike off the bar from Cabango. You know, so at the back, they've got some terrific ball players that help the ball go from A to B, you know, and then it's just from that B to C, really. You know, they've struggled today, Swansea.
Jean-Michael Seri is coming off and Ryan Woods will come on. That's the first change. Woods possibly should have had a much better career than he has to date. He's still only 28, but when he was at Brentford he looked a brilliant player, but moved on and maybe moved into clubs at the wrong time, but now looking to rebuild his career at Hull. And Dimitros Pelkas also goes off and Greg Doherty will replace him.
Well, I mean, Pelkas had an impact in the 2 games he come on as sub. QPR and Sheffield United, but he didn't really have much impact here. Bit of a rejig by the looks of it.
Yeah, Doherty going over on the right and Woods will play at the base of midfield. So an Ivorian international and a Greek international taken off in a Hull team who are about to lose 4 games on the trot in the Championship. Now Kundal wide to this near side and Sorinola, who's got the opportunity to attack Elder, and he's forced inside though to find Fulton once again. And after a quick flurry from Hull at the start of the second half, Swansea have been the dominant team. Wood looks to fasten onto a ball forward from Sorinola on this near side, but it's straight out of play and Hull City win the ball back again. But they have only 14 and a half minutes now to try and take something from this game. Doherty down the right, runs into Cabango, and Cabango quickly wins it back, and here is Manning, now Grimes, as the sun comes out again here at the Swansea.com stadium, and it's been a very good day for the home team eventually to date. 2 goals in 3 minutes. The first one was very well made, the second one was an absolute gift. Now Grimes back again towards Cabango. Norton will play it forward, and the central defenders always looking to join in for Swansea, and Norton now wide on the left hand side, plays a crossfield ball, but it's a poor one and it's given away straight to Ryan Longman, and Longman could bring the ball forward now for Hull. He was having his shirt pulled there, and then he was eventually taken down by Wood, and Wood will receive a yellow card for that.
Yeah, good powerful run here from Longman. What can they make of this though? You know, they've barely threatened the Swansea goal, and that comes from obviously this style of play that Ryan Manning has. You know, if you have the ball 60-70% of the time, then the moments for the opposition to try and hurt you are pretty fleeting. This could be one of them from a set piece.
But they need a break here, Hull City. They are heading for 3 games without a goal, and only 1 goal in 4 games, all of which they will have lost. And the shot count is 13-4 in Swansea's favour in this game.
Well, par for the course, right, in terms of how...
Yeah, they had 1 shot on target, Hull, and that was after about 2 minutes, the shot from Surrey. And they've got...
The way he's addressed the ball here, looks like he might be going for goal, Tufan.
Well, Tufan will hit this right-footed, he does, but it's straight into the wall. Cooper was there to block. And it's all the way back towards Baxter again, the Hull goalkeeper. Now Coyle, wide to this near side, and Ozan Tufan, the Turkish international. Woods with the flame hair, finding Doherty. And a good ball forward again, or good looking ball from Coyle, looking for Estepinian, but it's overhit and gathered by Bender, who in the second half has had nothing to do.
No, I mean, go back to that free kick. I mean, Tufan just turns around, and as he blasts it into the wall, as if to say, well,
what else can I do?
Well, yeah, and then you think, well, that's not good enough, you know? It's not.
Manchester United have beaten Reading 4-0 in the WSL. Manchester City lead Wolves 3-0 over on TalkSport in the Premier League as Greg Docherty hauls down Ollie Cooper, and it will be a free kick on the halfway line for Swansea. Yellow card for the player who's just come on. And we have 11 and a half minutes to play here. And it's still 2-0 to Swansea City, and they're looking fairly comfortable here against a whole team who are really on the slide, and that will be a concern. Swansea have got 2 trips away from home coming up against West Brom and Watford, and maybe away from home the pressure would be off slightly for Swansea, although they will be keen to feed off the feel-good factor they've generated so far here today. But there is a problem for Stephen Bender, the Swansea goalkeeper, and play will be halted once again for him to receive treatment. And David, if you're a Hull City supporter, one or two of them beginning to drift away. 15,207 is the crowd here today, which is about 3/4 capacity. Not too bad considering Swansea were in the relegation zone at kick-off time, but
and a game midweek.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's an expensive time for everybody. But if you're a Hull fan, are you really seeing signs of optimism here?
No.
That things will turn around?
No, you're not. You know, when we're both here quite early, you know, you grab a coffee and all the Hull fans are in there starting to filter into the little coffee houses around the place, and you know, they still come, but I guess more in hope than expectation at the minute in terms of things changing, and it doesn't look like it's going to turn anytime soon.
No, and with relatively new ownership and clear ambitions there, and the owner can turn around and say, look, I have brought players in, I have financed a team which should be a lot better than the results we are getting.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess, you know, if you want players to come in and make an impact, he made 3 changes here. I don't think you can really say that any of those players have taken their chance, to be honest. You know, can you? Yeah, the goalkeeper Baxter, you possibly say with the goal with Figueiredo when he fell over, you know, should he just stayed at home? Harvey Val, you know, poor performance. Pelkas offered nothing. So that's concerning when you make changes looking for an impact and you don't get one.
Well, Cyrus Christie is now coming on for Hull, a player who was here on loan at Swansea last season from Fulham. And he comes on for Oscar Estepinian, and Estepinian lingers inside the technical area and has a short, sharp conversation with Shorter Arveladze, but everything seems to be okay. So,
well, I mean, look, it's not as if you've got a break coming up now. You don't need to wrapping up in Cotton Wall for a game in midweek.
No,
they've only got Luton and
they've got Luton, then Wigan at home coming up, and then an away game at Huddersfield.
So 2 fans down through the middle. I mean, well, I don't know what the Hull fans think, but
the front line now, Longwood is on the left, 2 fan down the middle, and Christie on the right. That's the attacking front 3.
Yeah, and you just think, well, like I said, they haven't exactly got games lined up, you know, unless he's feeling something we don't know about, but surely you keep him on the pitch. Yeah, I looked at Southampton last night when they, you know, going for a goal, and he's made his subs, and he's got Shea Adams sitting behind him and Adam Armstrong, and then he's asking for a goal with, you know, the players that he brings on, and you think, well, hang on, you've got your 2 best goal scorers now sat behind you, and it's a case of now, well, it doesn't make sense for me this from Abelards taking off your goal scorer.
I didn't see the game last night because I was driving to Swansea, but I understand my drive down the M4 may be more entertaining. But important win for Villa.
They won't care, will they?
No. Stephen Gerrard won't care. It's all about getting points on the board at the moment, and that's what Swansea are about to do here, winning by 2-0 with 7 minutes to play. And it's a result which will, for now, carry them out of the relegation zone and above Hull City. Of course, games coming up this afternoon, but Swansea currently sitting 13th in the table. Of course, things change very quickly at this stage. Hull City will have 11 points from 10 games, but they themselves could be in the relegation zone by the end of today if results fall a certain way.
They lost against Bradford, didn't they, in the EFL Cup, so...
Yeah, there is not much to enthuse about. I mean, they started the season very well, got some surprising results, and when you look at where other teams are in the table, of course, they beat Norwich, but they had a difficult start. They beat Bristol City on the opening day. Okay, they beat Coventry, who've had a poor time recently, but that's it. Good draw at Burnley, got a 0-0 draw at Preston when everyone else was, and now 4 defeats in a row, unless something happens dramatically here in the final 6 minutes. Oh, it's been given away again by Hull City, and this time Joel Pirro makes it 3-0, and Hull City here have capitulated. That is a defensive calamity once again. They have beaten themselves here today, and Joel Pirro, who has missed so many chances, this time did not say no to another gift, tied up with ribbons. It was passed to him on the edge of the penalty area by a Hull City defender, and he slammed the ball high into the net. It is 3-0 to Swansea, but goals 2 and 3 have been given to them by Tobias Figueiredo.
An absolute shocker here from Figueiredo. I mean, he's put it on a plate for Pirro, and also his goalkeeper was on the opposite side of the box building play, so it's a complete disaster. I mean, he's fuming with himself, just screams to himself here, Figueiredo. He's at fault for 2 goals, and I guess Pirro's kept going, right? You know, he's missed chance after chance after chance. Finally, one's put on a plate to him by the opposition player, trying to pass the ball across his box, cut out by Pirro. His first touch actually bounces the ball up in the air, and it becomes a bit of a harder finish, but nonetheless, he just slams it home, keeps it just under the bar, and he got the goal that I think he's earned in these last couple of games. Always been alive, always been alert, trying to get on the end of things. He hit the bar a couple of times, and he's got his goal.
There are ways of losing games of football. You can play well and lose, you can be unlucky and lose, or you can basically just give the opposition the ball inside the penalty area and lose.
Well, look, we've said they conceded 18 before today. That's a number 3, 21. Yeah, that's more than 2 goals a game.
That's relegation form.
Yeah, and obviously when you're not getting your shots on goal, as they are, there's only Reading that have had less shots per game on goal than Hull, and today will bear that out as well. And it means you are, you know, all the stats point they don't lie. You know, it's worrying.
Yeah, Tobias Figueiredo, who was promoted from this division last year, has fallen over to contrive to give Kundal his goal, although the goalkeeper may have had a role to play, but that was all down to him there. It's the sort of goal that Swansea have been conceding. And the vast majority of the Hull fans are staying, but a number of them are on their feet and they are directing words towards their team, and you can't blame them, because you travel all this way and you see your team lay down.
Yeah. Really frustrating, because, you know, this is not a Swansea side in form, a little bit vulnerable at home. We just haven't got close enough, not been aggressive enough, but I think, look, the style of play, we know how Hull play. It is going to be allowing Swansea to have the ball, so your moments to go and score are going to be few and far between, but it's been another sort of typical Hull performance, really.
Michael Obafemi is about to make his return to the Swansea team, and it's Joel Pirro who will come off. And the reaction from the Swansea fans here towards Michael Obafemi will be interesting. Well, there's applause first of all for Joel Pirro. Well, he could have had 4 or 5 on his own today.
Yeah, I mean, he gets a warm round of applause rightly so. I don't think he'll be coming off unless he scored.
No. Well,
the stadium announcer had a bit more...
yeah, a few boos there. More than a few boos.
I think the stadium announcer did his very best to get the crowd behind Michael, so he couldn't do any more, and yeah, there was a few boos there.
Yeah, well, But he's quickly involved to force an error on the far side, and it will be a goal kick to Swansea City. Of course, he thought he was going to Burnley. It was fairly clear he wanted to go to Burnley, and then he wasn't in the right frame of mind to play.
Yeah.
So you can read into that a number of things.
Exactly.
And you know football more than most people.
And the fans will read into that, and everyone else, and
fans will get to know what's going on as well, won't
exactly,
they?
Yeah. But I think Russell's done the right thing here, because, you know, he does need him. You know, when you're winning 3-0, you need your centre forward. Look, come on, here you go. One striker scored. I can get the other one on here, and you know we can try and put to bed whatever's gone on, because I'm going to need him going forward.
You've got the international break coming up.
Yeah.
You've got 2 games away from home. You can integrate him back into the team.
Exactly. And often you go away. I remember I used to go away, and I'd come back and be like, manager at the time, be like, wow, you know. And it does give you that little bit of lift when you come back. So I think that's what Russell Martin's hoping for.
Only 1 goal this season in his 7 games before the recent hiatus. And Russell Martin comes up to the Swansea crowd, who ask him to give them away, but he entered this game under a bit of pressure, but a 3-0 win makes all the difference heading into an international break, and it could be a very long international break for Shota Arveladze.
Yeah, and it does just mean that when you have these team talks and half-time talks, you can always revert back to, do you remember against Hull? Dominated, had all the possession, didn't score, but we stuck with it.
Sorinola now coming forward for Swansea again. The cross is blocked at the near post. Now Kundle. Wide to this near side for Sorinola again. And in the end, he just jabs the ball straight out of play.
And also, do you remember Russell Martin said at the start, we played it, you know, at the top of the show, when he said he was talking to his coach, you know, you have that confident, that mentor you talk to. He said, you know, things weren't, there wasn't that much wrong, you know, results were, you know, and then now his mentor will come back to him and go, there you go, you know.
Here's Cooper now with a pullback across the penalty area, but it's beyond over Famey. There will be a minimum of 6 more minutes here. And Armstrong Okaflex, the Republic of Ireland under-21 international on loan from West Ham, will be coming on very soon.
I tell you what, you could have a chance of coming on. I mean, Russell Martin has cracked open the champagne. Everyone's got a chance now. I mean,
you've a better chance than I have.
He probably sort of hasn't had the luxury of having a couple of goal lead and, you know, been able to make these sorts of changes. And, you know, this is the time to do it, that's for sure.
Well, it's been a day when it's all come right for Russell Martin and Swansea City, but they've been given more of a helping hand at times by Hull City. Now Cyrus Christie, who's playing as a right-sided attacker, delivers a cross into the penalty area, and it stays in play, and Tufan will keep the ball in play. He's got support from Elder on the overlap now, crosses in, it's blocked by Kundle, and it's behind for a corner, and the reaction from the Hull fans behind that goal is negligible. They've not gone home, and to be honest, if you've got a 6-hour journey coming up, what difference does 10 minutes make? But they do have a corner here, and Russell Martin will be keen to preserve the clean sheet here. This would only be a second home win in 10 games. And the corner from Ozan Tufan is deep, and there was some shirt pulling there on Greaves, but the cross in was way above his head, straight out of play. And the change will be made. Changes as Finn Stevens will also come on. Ollie Cooper is the first player to be withdrawn. He was on loan at Newport last season, didn't score too many goals, but he's got the sort of footballing outlook which could flourish in this Swansea team. Welsh under-21 international. And it's Armstrong Okaflex who will come on. And Matthew Sorinola is also going off, and Finn Stevens, the teenager on loan from Brentford, another Welsh under-21 international, will come on.
Yeah, I mean, they get a warm round of applause like Joel Piru did, and rightly so. I think Sorinola, he'll be thrilled. I mean, when he put that ball in cutting using his left foot, because he had a really disappointing game, especially in the first half with his deliveries into the box, but that one on his weaker left side that was put in at the back post by Ryan Manning will give him an awful lot of confidence, and that was an important moment for him.
3 of the 6 added minutes played here on TalkSport 2. Newcastle against Bournemouth coming up at 3 o'clock. Manchester City leading by 3-0 as well. Over on TalkSport at the moment. And they've not had to come from behind to win today. It's been very comfortable for them by the sounds of it. And all the goals as they go in with Adrian Durham on TalkSport from 2:30. And then noon tomorrow, Brentford against Arsenal, also live on TalkSport with Sam Matterface and Andy Townsend. Now a low ball into the penalty area, it could be 4, and now it breaks again and then fired in from Fulton, and it's cleared away wide to the far side.
Good block in the end from Greaves at the back for Hull. First time we've really seen Obafemi in behind, stretch his legs. You think he could go for goal here. We've seen a few strikers score. We saw Pat Roberts come in this sort of angle, and Scotty Hogan, he could have gone for goal, a bit like them there, but cut the ball back, and there was Fulton. The shot was blocked.
Now it's wide towards the far side again, but Hull City will try their luck down the left with Elder. Elder is closed down by Norton, and the final touch was off the Australian, and Swansea will have a throw-in. And you look at Hull's side, if they were full of journeymen and academy players, you could maybe say, well, you know, they are where they are, but they've got players of international quality. Players will be going off on the international break to play for their countries and have major roles for their country. So
yeah,
it's really strange.
Yeah, maybe though. Not that many of them got that much experience of the Championship, you would say, and neither does the manager.
Yeah, and that's happened before. I remember Leonid Slutsky coming in. Of course, international manager, managed in the Champions League. Didn't last very long.
Yeah, I mean, I know football is football, but it does help when you know the league and know the players, and players you bring in know the league as well, ready for it.
And now the shot driven in low by Coyle, and it spins into the side netting. And Hull did have chances when it was 0-0, but in terms of shooting themselves in the foot, they have given a textbook lesson in doing that today.
Oh, dreadful. You know, two really bad defensive errors, you know, unforced errors that have cost them. Whether they would have got back in the game, we don't know at 1-0, but second and third goals were terrible.
The Hull City ownership are just leaving their seats in front of us and making their way downstairs. Full-time whistle goes. Welcome win for Swansea City, but a dreadful day for Hull City. 4 successive defeats for them, and the way they gifted Swansea the second and third goals will be a real concern to Shota Arveladze and those above them. But Swansea played in the manner in which Russell Martin wants them to. They were patient, they stuck with it, and eventually the goals came, and they won't care how they came. Full time, Swansea 3, Hull 0.